Hello and welcome back to the channel of nonsense, something slightly different today. This is kind of a review of the £120,000 Porsche Panamera Sport Turismo 4S E Hybrid sitting behind me, but I'm also on a shoot with DriveTribe. This is James May's pub in Swallow Cliff and we're filming a Dacia Sandero versus his bicycle, because they cost the same amount of money. Anyway, I'm going to try and tell you about the Porsche, but at the same time give you a bit behind the scenes of what goes on a proper film shoot, not me sitting in a lay-by. Now, considering how stupidly long this car's name is, you might be forgiven for not knowing what's under here. It's a 440 horsepower twin-turbo V6 with 136 horsepower of electricity as well. So in total, 560 horsepower and 750 newton-meters of torque. It's quite fast, and you can do about 30 miles on electric power alone. And obviously, you can force the engine to recharge the batteries if you can't plug it in. Sadly, I can't hop in to show the rear seat room because I've got my child seats in it, but there is actually loads of room. The Isofix points are a bit of a pain to get to. You've got to fold some leather out of the way, but this really is a lovely, lovely estate car. Loads of room. It's practical. You could get away with dailying this as a family car, actually. Let's show you the boot while we're at it, because it's pretty decent size, to be honest. I've got a bit of crap in there. Annoyingly, it's dark, hang on. Annoyingly, you do have to have the big Volkswagen Group bag of charging cables, which takes up loads of the space, but you could leave that at home if you don't need it. And it's a reasonable size. It is this many litres. And how cool is this? It has got a proper power socket. Okay, it's an American adapter shape one, but you could stick a little 3-pin on that and you'd be fine. And then you could run a fridge in the boot or charge your, I don't know really, your child's toys. And you can flip the seats down using a little switch hidden away there. So it's quite practical, but there isn't any space whatsoever under that boot floor because all the batteries are there. Right, this is the life of a press car. In my hands, this is a healthy breakfast of flapjack. Sort of William McCoy's, but at least I had a banana. And water, because you've got to stay hydrated, haven't you? Oh yeah, let's talk about the interior of the Panamera Sport Turismo 4S E Hybrid. You can see, unlike the Macan, the video of which I put up a couple of weeks ago, there are no physical buttons. There are still buttons, but they're on this kind of piano black stuff here, so they're kind of invisible until you turn the car on. It just looks much neater and much cleaner than that old style button fest.
James, do you like the Porsche Panamera Sport Turismo 4S E Hybrid?
Not massively, to be honest.
Why not?
Well, I haven't driven that actual version, but I've driven other ones, and it always feels a bit, my mother would say, unnecessary. It seems like a lot of complicated car, and it's quite brutish, and it just feels enormous.
Fine, thank you. I'll leave you to your geriatric jelly babies.
These are very unethical jelly babies depicting old people.
And you can eat them.
And you can eat them. Obviously, eating babies is pretty bad.
Eating old people is just like Dignitas, really. But
it is a bit, and you can just bite their heads off, like you do with, you know,
with unwanted old people.
It feels a bit wrong.
Right, let's go for a drive in the Porsche Panamera Sport Turismo 4S E Hybrid. Let's leave James May's pub quietly to respect the neighbours, which I can do in electric mode. I've got 3/4 of a battery, that's 24 miles of range. Usually this will give you 30 miles of electric range, and it can drive on electric power up to, I think, about 80-85 miles an hour. So you can actually do a decent amount of driving in it. Now, the first thing you do notice on the lanes around here, around Swallow Cliff, where James May's pub is is that it's not a small car. It feels pretty mammoth when you're in it on these roads, but you get used to it. It's not intimidating, and everything about it is easy to use. It's an automatic, really, isn't it? How hard is it to drive? But yeah, you can see out of it. You can see over your shoulder. The rear window is a bit small and a bit far away, but it's a big estate car. Mirrors are decent. It's just, yeah, it's just easy. It is just easy. I might be about to change my tune when a tractor comes around the corner, but we'll see about that. Now, you might be thinking, because this is a hybrid, it's going to weigh 1,000,000 tons with the batteries in the boot, and it doesn't actually feel that heavy. It's on air suspension, which helps a bit. But yeah, when you're on a fast, sweepy road or a twisty road, it doesn't feel too cumbersome. It actually feels reasonably sporty, and you can feel a palpable difference between the different suspension modes, which you can change here using a little button. So it doesn't matter what you've got your drive mode set to, you can have super sporty suspension in electric only mode if you want, and you can mix it up. It's proper usable Porsche like that. Everything just works, and they've thought about most things. There's a big Land Rover coming. Oh, you're gonna let me past. Okay, we're gonna get onto a bit of a busier road now. Let's put it in Sport Plus. Oh, V6 fires into life with a bit of an angry burble. Let's go. Yeah, it's fast. 0 to 62 takes 3.5 seconds. And this is only the V6 one. There's obviously a V8 and a V8 hybrid above this, and I've driven those and they are bonkers, but this doesn't feel much slower than the V8s at all, but it costs quite a bit less money. The V6 makes a sophisticated kind of growl. It's not, you know, a raucous noise, because this is a sophisticated long distance cruiser of a car, so it shouldn't sound like a race car. There are vans trying to kill me. But yeah, the remarkable thing I've always found about Panameras is the chassis and the body control. You can hoon this thing around tight corners, around any corners, at great speed, and it just stays completely flat. It feels very agile, and you soon forget you're driving an estate car. You end up driving it like a sports car. Now, your kids and your gran might not appreciate that, but you as a driver will be entertained by this car. I'm being entertained, look at me. So yes, it's fast, it handles impeccably for a big, reasonably heavy car, and the hybridness adds to the driving experience because you get that electric shove when you put your foot down, in addition to the twin-turbo V6 putting its 440 horsepower out. So think of this as like an Audi RS4 with a lot more instant shove from that electric motor. Does that make sense? Possibly. But the beauty of it is you can have this sporty, agile estate car, and then you flick a switch and it's silent, electric, you slacken the air suspension off, and you've got a very comfortable silent cruiser. Kind of really does do everything. Do you feel the weight over slightly bigger bumps like that? You sense the extra weight of the batteries over the back axle. You hear kind of a bit of a thud. It's fairly standard for things like this, really. But otherwise, to drive, this is way sharper and more interesting to drive than an RS4 and RS6 cars of that ilk. I've always liked the Panamera for that. It's not shouty, it's not loud, it's not like an AMG engine, but it's still fun. And the sparkle is in the way it turns and things like that, rather than the way it spits hydrocarbons out at the person behind you. Let's talk about MPG, because it's a hybrid. You might expect it to be getting decent MPG. And with a full charge, it does quite remarkable MPG, but I'm talking like 40 MPG, 50 MPG. That's quite good for a car with 560 horsepower. When the battery is depleted, or you're just driving on petrol power alone and using the engine to charge the battery, you get more like 24, 25 MPG. But that's still quite good, considering the mass of this and the batteries and the motor. That's remarkable. I was getting less MPG out of the same petrol engine in a Macan. Obviously that's bigger and bluffer and less aerodynamic, but I'm still impressed. 25 MPG from something this fast? I'll take that any day of the week. Obviously, if you stick it in electric only mode, you get unlimited MPG. I don't actually know how many miles per kilowatt hour it does, because it doesn't say, and I'm too thick to work it out. I should probably talk about the brakes, because often on a hybrid you'll find there's a weird bit in the brake pedal where you go between motor regeneration for braking and the actual physical steel brakes. This car, unsurprisingly, Porsche has nailed that pedal feel. And it might sound like a nerdy thing to talk about, but when you're driving some hybrids around town, I don't know, you never know how quickly you're going to stop when you press the pedal. This is just really consistent, and you get little lights lighting up on the dash to show you how much energy you're putting back into the battery, which is always satisfying when you see your range go up when you're going down a hill, dragging it a bit, the brakes slowed down. But yeah, some 410mm steel discs, and they're pretty good. I haven't got the savage bite of the carbon ceramics, which are probably an option, but with 10-15 grand of options on this car, yeah, it's probably enough options already, isn't it? So yeah, Panamera Sport Turismo 4S E Hybrid drives really quite neatly, if we're being nerdy, neatly. Anyway, enough waffle. Thank you for watching. Please like, please comment, please subscribe. Sorry it's been a slightly odd video. I was trying to do bits and bobs in the car park, but turns out I was needed on the shoot, so I didn't really get to do a full walk around and stuff, and now I've run out of time. So hope it was enjoyable. Hope you took something away from it. I hope you're well, life is good. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you next time when I won't be in James May's pub seeking his opinion while he eats jelly babies. Yeah, bye.